Bradford bringing it up for Buzz Williams. What did the Aggies like to do offensively, Dave?
Well, right now they're going to get it into the freshman, Solomon, but he's not traditionally their best back-to-the-basket player, so comes up empty there.
There's Kenny White, 13 in blue. Layup off the glass, too strong. And it's going to stay Murray State basketball. Now there's the Racers starting five, and you're going to see a lot of transfers, a lot of new faces for Steve Prohm. 3 of the top 4 scorers left from last year's team, headed by Matt McMahon, who went 31-3 and made the NCAA tournament.
One thing the Racers have done well so far in this season is not turn the ball over. Just 9 a game, but you see them throw it away there. You have to handle the pressure of Texas A&M, especially in the half court.
So here's a look back at what Murray State did last year. They were OVC champions last year. Now they're in the MVC, the Missouri Valley Conference, and they were one of the victims of the St. Peter's Peacocks' magical run to the Elite Eight last year.
A little sloppy start for both teams right now. Texas A&M forcing the issue a little bit offensively, see if they can't get a cleaner look. Be a little more patient on this end of the court.
The A&M starting five, they've got some transfers of their own, new faces. Dexter Dennis, the American Conference Defensive Player of the Year last year for Wichita State. And Solomon Washington, a high-energy freshman, getting the start for Buzz Williams. Here's Jamari Smith, dealing with a little bit of a shoulder injury, but he's starting nonetheless. And DJ Burns, one of the best offensive rebounders in the nation, gets his first of the afternoon.
Nice job there. I thought he earned a way to the free throw line as well. I mean, I felt like he got clobbered down low, but good hustle here. I mean, to me, that's going to the free throw line. But they're going to have to do this by committee, are the Murray State Racers. And Coach Prohm feels like this is a team that can have 5 double-digit scores. Maybe not a star on the offensive end, but collectively, can they take down the Aggies?
Swinging around the perimeter. Here's Perry, who Dane told us about earlier. He's off the mark on that deep ball. And Wade Taylor, the fourth, number 4, brings it up the floor. And he's swallowed up by Kenny White.
Taylor's excited to play. I think he might be a little too excited. I mean, twice he's forced it in the paint. A pretty erratic 3. Needs better shot selection. That's what made him so efficient so far in this season.
Boots Radford with the lefty jumper, no good. Another rebound for DJ Burns. Here's Jacoby Wood. Was a Belmont Bruin, now a Murray State Racer. Those two teams, arch rivals in the OVC. Now they'll square off against each other twice a year in the Missouri Valley Conference. Smith, right hand, gets it to go and opens the scoring in this one. Jamari Smith, averaging 19 a game in his first 2. Dexter Dennis gives it up to Taylor. And he's short on that 3. Wide open look, left-handed J, Kenny White for 3.
And that's where the Racers think they may have an advantage, is transition offense. As the Aggies attack the glass and they hang around trying to swipe at the ball, get it off to the races for the Racers.
Here's the freshman Washington from the top of the key.
He's a good-looking freshman, plays with a ton of enthusiasm. His first points on the season, but he's in there because of his defense and intensity.
And 3s are starting to rain down inside the HTC Center. Back-to-back triples, this one by Jacoby Wood.
And that goes to show you don't only have to run on misses, you can also run on makes if you're Murray State. Be opportunistic.
Here's another one, and another good one. This time Dexter Dennis gets in the action.
Well, it took a minute for both teams to get warmed up, but now we've got consecutive baskets and feels like we've got a good ball game.
8-6, Murray State with the lead, 3.5 minutes gone by. Smith, the D2 transfer. No good, and Henry Coleman grabs the rebound. Dennis inside to the freshman Washington. No, had his shot altered by Smith. Smith soft off the window. We were told he's going to be wearing a harness on that shoulder. He's showing no ill effects.
Yeah, and he is not bashful at all. I mean, he is taking it right at the Aggies, been extremely aggressive of getting to the rack.
Scored 1,200 points plus at D2 Queens College, now with the Murray State Racers. And another bucket by Kenny White Jr.
That is a smooth move for the lefty of finishing with the offhand.
Murray off to a 50% shooting clip in the opening moments. And an offensive foul called on Henry Coleman. Hot start as the Racers race out to an early lead.
We mentioned the importance of transition offense for Murray State. They're going to get it and go, advance passes, find your shooter in the corner. And Kenny White Jr. knocks it down. The Aggies come back with a quick answer. Dexter Dennis with a triple of his own, but Murray State rolling early.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by VisitMyrtleBeach.com. Find where you belong at the beach. And by Dollar General. Save time, save money every day. He had the likes of Isaiah Cannon and then someone like Cameron Payne running the show. Well, now he's got a whole bunch of new faces, and clearly in the first 5 minutes, we've seen they could score in bunches.
They can, and they're playing collectively as a unit. Very impressive. After those first 5 minutes, you wouldn't know that they're pretty much a brand new team with transfers, and him being a first year, yeah, not his first year ever at Murray State, but you're still taking over a new team. And like a lot of coaches we talk to, Rich, they talk about the offseason and all the team bonding and team unit skills that they developed over time, more so than the actual X's and O's coaching.
Yeah, he told us they did something called the H game, where everyone on the team had to tell everyone else something about their history, a highlight, a hero, heartbreak, and hope. And that'll bring a team together sooner than it will later. 10 on the shot clock. Here's Perry. The Stetson transfer. Still can't get one to fall. And Julius Marble, a Michigan State transfer for Buzz Williams, seeing his first action. Marble fights for the rebound. Oh, and Hayden Hefner went up high for that one and came down hard, but he's okay.
I expected to hear you say Hayden for three. I'm not sure I expected you to say Hayden Hefner jumps over the top looking for a tip dunk. He got up there. And this is the depth that Buzz Williams has right now. What they have on the court right now could start for a lot of teams.
Yeah.
And 34 Marble, you mentioned the Michigan State transfer, arguably their best back-to-the-basket type post-up player on the offensive end, really jumps off the screen with his activity level.
Here's KK Robinson, the Arkansas transfer, promptly throws it away. Quincy Anderson on the floor now for Steve Prohm, gives it up to Wood. Wood for three.
And they're getting openings in transition as this Aggie team is hustling back and sinking in the paint. They're finding open shooters.
All reserves on the floor for Buzz Williams. Here's Hefner. Lost the handle. Racers racing down the floor. Quincy Anderson can't join the three-point party. There's 35 in white, Manny Obaseki. He started a bunch of games last year. The follow by Marble, and the foul is called.
Yes, Murray State's doing a good job pushing in transition, but I think the Aggies' decision-making on the offensive end is what's helping them do that. The shot selection has not been good for the Aggies. They're going to turn it over on this last possession as well. And so I think the Aggies just need to calm down a little bit. I love the intensity they play with, but the decision-making on this end of the court has to be better.
You know, Dana, as a broadcaster, you love when coaches who you're covering are transparent with you.
Right.
And that was one of the first things Coach Prohm told us yesterday. He said, we think we have an advantage in transition. We're going to try to show that as much as we can early on, and they have.
And you can see it when they get the ball, their entire bench is standing up saying, push it, go, go, go.
Julius Marble goes 1 for 2. 6'9" junior out of Dallas, Texas.
Now you see a little of this 1-2-2 pressure, and you think often about the guards have to handle the pressure, and a lot of times it's going to be the bigs when they get it out of the trap. Can the bigs help be good decision makers as well?
There's a JUCO sophomore, Brian Moore, number 14 in blue, running the show. Kenny White, not from the left side. And Obaseki brings it up for the Aggies. And a whistle away from the ball. It'll stay Texas A&M basketball.
Yeah. Marble chirping a little bit at Smith, thinking you're going to have to come stronger with that if you want to knock me off my ball screen. That is a big boy, is 34 in white. Brings a lot of physicality to this A&M team, but also skill.
Robinson triggers from under his own basket. And we saw that a couple times in the first quarterfinal. The players not too familiar with this HTC Center court, stepping on the sideline shooting a three.
It's still amazing to me, though, just in all of college basketball, how often that happens. With the awareness that these players typically have, that corner seems to get a lot of guys.
7 minutes gone by, an 8-point Murray State lead in the opening stanza. Here's Moore, 10 on the shot clock. Guarded by the much bigger Marble, can't take advantage, and he travels.
Get a glimpse there of the versatility of Marble, being able to move his feet against a smaller, quicker defender. Such a difficult thing for a big man to move laterally that well, but Marble does it that time.
What are the calling cards of a Buzz Williams coach team?
Well, toughness, the trapping. He's had a lot of different identities at College Station. Now, for the first time 2 years in a row, they have something similar. And as we mentioned, the back-to-back threat, basket threat that Marble is, converts there.
A near turnover at midcourt. Here's Jamari Smith. White showed three. And another turnover forced by the Aggies defense. Hefner inside. And the Mississippi State transfer. Anderson Garcia had it knocked out of bounds.
The other thing on the defensive side, you talk about a Buzz Williams staple, is the activity with the hands, the aggressiveness, and it's just so hard not to get sped up when you're the other team. But that's what Murray State has to do, is try to stay patient.
Here's Garcia, patient in the paint. Left-handed three by KK Robinson off the mark. And another offensive rebound by Marble. Just pulled the string a little bit on that jump hook, and it's going the other way. Under 12 media timeout. The Murray State Racers 15 and the 24th ranked Texas A&M Aggies 9. Come on back to Myrtle Beach. Up, going all the way to the SEC championship game, and yet they were snubbed by the NCAA tournament committee. Here's what Buzz Williams had to say in the wake of that.
The process is obviously flawed, and it is apparent that there is way more included that is unseen and unknown in the selection of the 36 at-large teams than what the public is made aware of. Our players and staff earned a right to play in the greatest tournament in the world. And it disgusts me in a way that I can't articulate that the system and the adults in it prohibited that from happening.
Well, Rich, you could see the emotion there. If we had 7 more minutes of airtime, we could have gotten to the facts and the numbers, the way they were crunched. It wasn't just the emotional feeling that Buzz Williams had, but also the factual evidence that he felt like his team deserved to be in. So this is a little bit of a redeemed team for Texas A&M, especially when you consider the number of guys that were on that team and felt that heartbreak a year ago. Boots Radford, Henry Coleman III, Wade Taylor. So they are trying to make a name for themselves this season and make sure there is no doubt that they're in the NCAA tournament under year 4 with Buzz Williams.
50-year-old Buzz Williams, he's all about OKG guys. That's what he calls them, our kind of guys, and he feels like he has an entire roster full of that. And you made a great point when we were watching practices, how a lot of the young men on this team who've been here for a few years in College Station were starting earlier, and now they're coming off the bench, and that's a testament to the talent of this program.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a player we hadn't seen yet, Andre Gordon, in the game, who was starting point guard as a freshman, now a senior for the Aggies, but that's part of the culture. Yes, some guys come and go, but the core nucleus is there. And again, they've got high expectations, and rightfully so.
Inside, here's Marble working on Burns. That's a brick wall against a brick wall.
Yeah, he's got terrific range on that jump hook, and it's almost unguardable given how far he can let that release go at such a high angle.
This Aggies defense starting to impose its will on the Racers.
You don't see many guys in college basketball that can execute a jump hook from 10 to 12 feet away. I mean, this is tough. You just turn And it's so natural for him to be that physical of a player, yet have that soft of a touch is really unique.
Wood triggers the inbounds. And Burns tracks it down. Here's Rob Perry back on the floor, 2 in blue. He's the leading scorer for the Racers in the early going. Jumper's not working so far for Rob Perry, and here comes KK Robinson down the left side. Hefner for 3. That's his office out there on the wing. Can't knock that one down, though. And we're halfway through this first half of the second semifinal from the Myrtle Beach Invitational. Murray State trying to knock off 24th ranked Texas A&M. 7 on the shot clock. And again, tenacious defense by the Aggies.
You can't do it any better than that. I mean, they switched, they communicated. Murray State never even got inside the three-point line, got the deflection, and ultimately the jump ball. But the versatility of these defenders, really led by Marvel. You got a big man out there that can switch and talk the way he does, is what makes this such a dangerous defensive team.
Yeah, Marble just 15 minutes a game in the first 2 games, both wins for the Aggies, but you get the sense in this first half he's going to see a lot more playing time today.
Absolutely, but it's not just him. I mean, the intensity and the communication across the board is what makes this such a strong defensive unit. Murray State has been unable to get much going in the half court. Really, the one guy is the one taking the ball out, Jamari Smith, who's been able to put his head down at times and get in the lane, see if they can't get 52 the ball again.
3 on the shot clock for the Racers once they inbound the ball. Smith gets it up, and a prayer not answered by the Racers. Shot clock violation, and it's going to be Aggies basketball. Well, Murray State now has 5 turnovers to the Aggies 6, and a 4-point lead. It feels like the momentum is squarely in the corner of the Aggies, and yet they still trail by 2 possessions.
Well, I think the game has slowed down a little bit in a good way for the Aggies. Just being a little bit more selective on the offensive end as opposed to just trying to force the issue.
Texas A&M has scored 82 points per game in their first 2, only surrendered 56 per game in those 2. 10 on the shot clock. Marble, top of the key. Skip pass. Taylor.
There's that flop.
Wade Taylor might have gotten one in the chops as well.
Yeah, that's a tough break. He gets hit in the mouth, but he gets called for a flop, and it's going to be a Class B technical foul. New rule this year, there is no warning for the flop. Oftentimes you're going to see it on the three-point shooter when they fall to the ground to try to trick the official into thinking they got fouled. It is going to be a one-shot penalty for the other team.
And Dane, we saw that in our first game here inside the HTC Center with Noah Fernandez getting a free throw at the end of the first half. And you were saying, what happens at the end of a game?
Yeah,
if the score is tied and someone gets called for
to that scenario. Imagine the game 70-70, and at the end of regulation, they shoot that shot, miss. You think you're going to overtime, and it's nope. That's a flop. That's going to be a tough one to call for the officials.
After a hot start, Murray could really use a bucket. 0 for their last 6. Burns out to Anderson. Left-handed 3 off the mark. White skies for the rebound and can't convert. Obaseki goes out of bounds. It'll stay Aggies basketball.
The degree of difficulty on the shot for the Aggies has been extremely high. And I like how they're pushing in transition, and I like how aggressive they are. But again, I think it's one more.
Here's Obaseki. Off his foot. Coming away with it is Moore. In the open court, Anderson and one.
You talk about getting out in transition with speed. That was a clinic. I mean, there is no hesitation after this turnover. They are sprinting and going, and terrific job with just a bullet pass and finishing traffic with the left hand.
That was as good looking a two-man fast break as you'll see.
But really, it's A&M's decision-making on the offensive end that has become Murray State's effective offense. Really, if they take care of the ball, take good shots, and can get set in the half court, I don't think Murray State can score on them efficiently.
The lead is 7 for the Racers. 8.5 to go in the first half.
Nice job fronting the post. They wanted to get Henry Coleman the ball, and look how far they force him out.
Another skip pass. Taylor off the window, and Wade Taylor in the scoring column, averaging 19.5 in his first 2 games, has his first 2 now. Here's Smith trying to create some space. And Julius Marble again with the defense. Radford, 3. Offensive rebound, and Henry Coleman had it tipped. Brian O'Connell lost his whistle. And with 7:47 to go, we have another timeout on the floor. A&M's never going to go away easy. We knew that. They trail the Racers by 5. Games between top-ranked teams in college basketball. On Sunday, we've got another one. First ever meeting between number 4 Kentucky and number 2 Gonzaga. Last season's National Player of the Year, Oscar Tshiebwe, leading the Wildcats against Drew Timme and the Bulldogs in Spokane. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ESPN and the ESPN app. And one of those 2 teams, Dane Bradshaw, is going to have a 2-game losing streak after that game.
How about that? But what a matchup. You mentioned it. Tshiebwe, returning National Player of the Year. Drew Timme on his way to being a 3-time All-American. We talked about before, whether you like the NIL stuff or not, it does retain great players in college basketball that otherwise would not be here. Tshiebwe, Timme, 2 perfect examples of that.
Last game for Oscar Tshiebwe, despite the loss to Michigan State, first game of the year, 22 points, 18 boards.
I question whether he could repeat what he did last year. I know it's just one game, but it is one big game against Michigan State, and he was just dominant.
I'm with you.
The problem was, once he fouled out, Kentucky looked lost. And they've got to get some of their shooters and better decision makers out there. They've got guys, but they just look lost without Sheboy.
Good hands there by Andre Gordon, backup point guard, number 20 in white. Racers with the ball and the lead. Coming up on 7.5 to go. Moore's in trouble. And look at Marble. Gets whistled for the foul, but you gotta love the aggression by this Aggies defense.
The ball pressures, the denials, and if you're Murray State, you just gotta have one or two guys that can get past the first defender. And that's the first problem. The second problem is then getting in the lane and making the right decision from there. But if you just stand out there and try to swing it around, you're dead meat. Somebody's got to be able to make some penetration on their own.
Loose ball. Aggies come away with it. And Boots Radford almost dribbled it right off his boots. It's going to stay A&M basketball.
You know what I love here? Wade Taylor communicating to Buzz Williams on what play he wants to call on the sideline out of bounds. And Buzz accepting it. So that's the ownership you want your team to take in the communication between player and coach.
Amen. And Wade Taylor just a sophomore. Radford.
Hey, look at them. Look at them giving high fives to each other on the sideline. Wade Taylor, Buzz Williams. Saying, good call, coach. He's like, yeah, good call, Wade.
You had that kind of relationship with Bruce Pearl, right?
Yeah, you know what's great, though, is, yeah, I did. And I was smart enough, like Wade Taylor, to say, hey, coach, I need a play for Chris Lofton, not for me. Well, Wade could call his own number, but I do love the unselfishness to say, hey, let's run this and get Boots in the ball.
Radford's got his first point of the game. He's now 6 points shy of 1,000 for his career. Started his career with Buzz at Virginia Tech, transferred over to College Station when Buzz came down the line. One possession ball game, 7 minutes to go in the first half. Murray State punched first. Now the Aggies have had their counter punch. How do the Racers answer? Smith in the lane. And got fouled for his efforts.
Rich, he's the one guy that's been able to create his own off the bounce. That's now 3 times he's been able to successfully get inside the perimeter at least. Maybe not all the way to the paint, but just get a paint touch or at least 15 feet in where he can be effective.
So Jamari Smith at the line, shooting 2, already 4 points in this contest. Can't make it 5. Tip off your weekend with our star-studded NBA Friday doubleheader. Joel Embiid and the Sixers hosting Giannis and the Bucks at 7:30 Eastern. Then Julius Randle and the Knicks square off against Steph and the Warriors. Our coverage begins with NBA Countdown at 7 Eastern on ESPN and the app. You think college basketball is full of upsets. The Nets, the Lakers, the Warriors, they're all struggling this year.
Well, the Nets isn't an upset to me. That thing's been a dumpster fire.
Yeah. That one's blocked. Here comes Murray State. That's going to be the first on Andre Gordon. And now Brian Moore Jr. at the line. A 6'3" sophomore out of Harlem, New York. Kingston High School, spent a year at Northeast Oklahoma A&M. Was a 1,000-point scorer there. Now trying his Division I wares with the Murray State Racers.
He plays a little backup point guard for him. Can play off the ball too, but let me tell you something. Backup point guard, is probably the hardest position to play against the Texas A&M team.
Why do you say
coming
that?
up fresh off the bench, you hadn't had a chance to go up and down, the ball's in your hands right away, and it's like, hey, go lead our team. And then you got an A&M defense as ferocious as they are.
Yeah,
that's
like
a
a
difficult
hornet's
task.
nest. Moore's 2 free throws gives Murray State a 2-possession lead as Boots Radford brings it up for the Aggies. Looking for Coleman. Up and under. Coleman, no with the left hand. Anderson clears for Murray State. Quincy Anderson, lightning fast with the basketball in his hands. Here he is on the wing. And an offensive foul called on Quincy Anderson.
Like I mentioned, the first problem is getting past the defender. The second problem is what to do when all that help comes and you have to play off 2 feet. You cannot jump in the air. You have to come to a jump stop and make the right decision. If you float, there is a charge waiting to happen.
What did Steve Probe tell us about this Aggies defense? It's not necessarily the first move. It's the second move after the first move that you have to be really aware of. Ten on the shot clock for A&M. Coleman, determined, but unsuccessful. Anderson gives it up. And Coleman comes away with it at the other end. Here's Dexter Dennis. Too strong on the 3, and Anderson skies for that rebound.
We've talked a lot about this Aggie defense. This racer defense has been the impressive part and the upset to me. I mean, that time they get stuck in transition defense. They hustle back, get matched up, force a contested 3. You can't ask for anything better.
Offensive foul. We're going the other way. That one's going to go on Brian Moore.
You just have to expect that help defender coming up onto you. And again, you must play off 2 feet. You jump off 1 and you're floating in the air, they're going to be there all day long.
Good position by Henry Coleman. But Steve Prohm talked about the biggest challenge for this team at this point in the season is rising to the occasion defensively. He said that St. Louis game where they lost on the road was a tough test. This one's going to be even tougher.
Oh, it sure is. And they have stepped up to the challenge so far and really brought the physicality. I thought they might be dominated by the athletes of Texas A&M. Not so far.
Not so far with a 6-point lead and only 4:25 to go in the first half. Aggies are now 1 for their last 11 from the field.
And here's the bright side if you're an Aggie fan. You're 5 of 28. That's 18%. And you're only down 6 with the ball. So you've got a defense good enough to get you through some of these scoring droughts, but they do have to get a little bit better offensively.
10 on the shot clock. Marble, skip pass. Radford got the 3.
And that shot's going to be there for him. We've seen multiple skip passes from the post where that help side is so deep from Murray State that skip pass for the 3 is open if they can knock it down.
Third 3 of the game for Buzz Williams Aggies. And they're within 3. From the corner, an answer from Jacoby Wood.
And I give credit to DJ Burns. The big man got it at the high post there, and he didn't force the issue. He made the right pass, forcing the rotation.
3 triples for Jacoby Wood, the transfer from Belmont. And that extends Murray's lead back to 6. And another bucket. Back-to-back buckets for Texas A&M. We haven't said that much this afternoon.
For some guys, that's not a good shot. For Boots Radford, it is. Getting them going downhill, very crafty with the ball.
Wood tries it again. A little bit of a heat check.
Yeah, he was feeling it. They may have gotten marble on a foul on the other end. Well, team's starting to heat up a little bit. Here's that skip pass. Nice vision by the big man, and Boots Bradford knocking it down. Not to be outdone, though. The Racers with some ball movement of their own, trying to get the lid off the basket here at Myrtle Beach.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. It's the best place to get everything you need for the holidays. HTC Center alongside Dane Bradshaw. I'm Rich Holmberg. I would pay to see the guard matchup in studio.
How about
Wojo and Switola?
Yes.
Come on. Those are two fierce competitors.
And they have to wear their college jerseys. Can't be anything new. Has to be game worn. True throwback.
Well, you heard them talk about how impressive Murray State has been. They have a 4-point lead over the 24th ranked A&M Aggies with 3:06 to go in the first half. DJ Burns at the line has his first points of the afternoon.
He's given them some good minutes. I mentioned before he got the hockey assist, but when A&M traps and they force you to throw it to your big man right there in that free throw area, he's got to make a good decision. He did on the previous possession. Then he saves another play by getting the foul on Marble, being aggressive on the offensive rebound again, gets himself 2 points as a result.
Steve Prohm calling DJ Burns the heart and soul of this team. Nice take by Manny Obaseki for his first two.
Well, that's another gear. You talk about not letting the ball stick. Don't hold it when you get it. Be decisive. And that's exactly what happened there.
Here's Moore. Now Moore and Jacoby Wood on the floor at the same time, like 2-point guards. Oh, that one's swatted away. And it's going to be a turnover for Murray State. The defense for the Aggies continuing to put the clamps on.
How's that for recovering and closing out on a three-point shooter? Boots Radford coming out of nowhere just when you think you got an open three. No, sir. and forces the turnover as well, do the Aggies. That's some athleticism. I mean, the way he plays and the way he rebounds, you would think he's 6'5", 6'6". He is only 6'2", and he just jumps off the screen.
There's Coleman, one-on-one against Burns. Still can't get it to go.
I thought he made that harder than he needed to. He was open at the beginning, and it's like he gave it another little bit of one extra sidestep. Made himself further away from the basket than he needed.
2 minutes to go in the first half. Murray State has led throughout, and they add to that lead. First field goal of the game for DJ Burns.
Another good read there. He recognized he had the smaller defender, Hefner, on him.
That one blocked, out of bounds. It'll stay Aggies basketball.
Burns is going to get the one-on-one matchup here with the guard Hefner and realize, wait a minute, I got an advantage here on the interior. Just does a quick little fake, finishes with the left over the top. And then on the other end of the court comes over, just a collision at the rim to contest the shot. Great energy from Burns.
Burns shooting 50% so far from the field. We already highlighted his attributes as an offensive rebounder, one of the best in the country. He was 25th in the nation last year in offensive rebounding. In that respect, sometimes Murray State's best offense is going and getting their misses.
Very much so.
So now both teams in the bonus. A&M shooting a 1-and-1.
Rich, if you would have told me Murray State would be up 6 as we approach halftime, and their top scorer, Rob Perry, would be held scoreless with 2 personal fouls, I said, you're crazy. But again, their defense has been so solid, and that's really what's allowed them to get that advantage in transition with those 10 fast break points. Really been the difference in the game thus far.
Hayden Hefner, really good shooter for Buzz Williams at the free throw line, knocks the front end of the 1-and-1 down. He'll shoot a second.
When a guy like Hefner, he's got to shoot it at a high clip. I'm not talking 30% from 3, 35, closer to 40, because they have enough depth defensively. But on offense is where they need shot makers, and that's where he can really carve out his niche in the rotation.
Now Buzz Williams going back to his reserves, trying to use some of that depth to wear down these Murray State racers.
And this 1-2-2 press, I think, has been effective when the Aggies can do it. But if you're not making shots, you can't get in the press.
Number 24, Texas A&M has never led in this game. The winner of this game facing the UMass Minutemen in the Myrtle Beach semifinals. Wood thought about it, guarded by Dennis, an excellent defender in his own right. 8 on the shot clock. Wood, circus shot off the window. Jacoby Wood has a dozen. Now coming up on 1 minute to go. Marble in between Murray State defenders, and Julius Marble will go to the free throw line.
Well, good action on both ends. You're going to have to take some tough twos against A&M, and you're going to have to make some. And no tougher two than this by Wood, just fading away out of bounds with a scoop shot. Soft off the glass. Not an easy make by any means. And then the nice slip by Marble. Really high IQ player when he gets it in the post there.
Julius Marble having himself a good first half with 5 points, trying to add to that. And can't on the first one. On that foul was Brian Moore Jr., by the way, Dane. That's 3 fouls in the first half for the backup guard. Again, the depth of this Murray State team will be tested by Texas A&M. Rob Perry back on the floor. Marble not good from the free throw line, but Obaseki got the rebound and the bucket.
That's twice now where he's just done a little bit of a hesitation, then put it into a high gear, going on that right side, finishing with the inside left hand.
45 seconds to go in the first half, 20 on the shot clock for the Racers. First year in the Missouri Valley Conference and looking for an early season signature win. And Rob Perry's got his first bucket of the first half.
And I'll keep singing DJ Burns' praises. That is a guard-type play, a penetrate pitch, drive, draw, dish to the open man.
1 second differential between the shot clock and the game clock, and Julius Marble has 7. It'll be last shot time for Steve Prohm and the Murray State Racers. Up by 5, 10 seconds to go. Now 5 seconds. Nearly stolen by Radford. White's got to get it up. He does, and it goes! Kenny White takes it all the way to the tin and converts the 2.
And as A&M was trying to steal some momentum to take, that have been the most effective defensive team.
Dan, let's take a look at our first half stats. They're brought to you by Dollar General. And when you look at these stats, neither team really shot the ball exceptionally well. So what did Murray do to get themselves a 7-point advantage at the break?
The key was the fast break points. They got out in transition. They found open 3-point shooters. And Wood, 24 from Murray State, connected on 3 of those triples. So that was a bit of a surprise for them, 12 points in the first half.
It's the Aggies in the white uniform starting the second half off with the ball, and Boots Radford can't get him off to a good start as Kenny White Jr. grabs the rebound.
A nice play and a clean look, just couldn't knock it down.
Texas A&M has never led in this ball game. Here's White, kicks it out, the one more. And here's Wood in the corner, money for Jacoby Wood with 15 on the game.
And what a find by Smith. He went to the baseline under control, picked it up, and then did a dime of a bounce pass along the baseline.
Jacoby Wood, the Belmont transfer, playing for his arch rival with the Bruins. And there's Julius Marble, who's arguably the best player on the floor for A&M in the first half, gets his first 2 of the second.
Yeah, they've given him the start in the second half. It was Solomon Washington who started the game, but right now Buzz Williams says we got to let Marble start this second half.
Rob Perry off the mark. He's only at 1 bucket, and yet it's Murray State with an 8-point lead. Good follow by Boots Radford. Tyrese Radford has 9. And A&M back to within 2 possessions.
He's as good of a rebounding guard as you'll find, so you have to put a body on him and know where he is at all times if you're Murray State.
As far as players 6'2" and under in all of college basketball, no one rebounds the ball better than Tyrese Radford. 10 on the shot clock. Skip pass. Here's Jamari Smith for 3. Back-to-back triples for the Racers, starting the second half the way they did the first.
Yeah, and Murray State has 5 guys on the court right now that can really pass the ball. I think the court vision is excellent, and that's why they're able to find the open man.
Smith has 8, the lead for Murray State up to 9. Radford. And Perry clears on the right side. Smith all alone, look out. Easy layup and 1 for Jamari Smith.
The point of emphasis and the key for this Murray State upset was the transition offense. Coach Prohm talked about it, and the message has been sent to his team. They're going to get this thing out and go off the mid-range. And great job here by Smith, avoiding that charge by Taylor, and then knives through the defense. He's such a physical defender, but he's also a physical offensive player. Broad shoulders, really aggressive.
Misses on the back iron to complete the 3-point play. Jamari Smith, cousin of number 3 overall pick last year, Jabari Smith from at Auburn, now playing for the Atlanta Hawks.
The Aggies got to be careful. I mean, right now offensively, they're not built to come back from too big of a deficit.
Radford taking it strong, coming up empty, but grabs the rebound and will go to the line for his efforts.
Nice job by Radford, sort of forcing the issue there. And Wood really fortunate that that's not an and one. If you're going to foul Radford, you better make them earn it. But a ticky-tack like that is usually an and one.
Radford rattles home the first, giving him 10. Sunday, we have the women's basketball game of the day. Aaliyah Boston and number 1 South Carolina taking on Haley Jones and the number 2 Stanford Cardinal at Maples Pavilion. Coverage beginning at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on ABC and the ESPN app.
What a matchup. Doesn't get any better. Number 1 versus number 2. Must-see TV on Sunday.
Perry from deep, no good. And Dennis with the rebound. Inside, Marble again.
I think Murray State's going to have to start thinking about bringing a double team on the catch for Marble. When he gets that deep post position, it's just child's play down there.
That ball goes out of bounds. A Murray State turnover. It's Aggies basketball.
Check out the deep post position by Marble. He does such a good job of establishing his presence, and the defender's on his back. There's just no way he's going to be able to compete. You've got to bring that help and bring it early.
By the way, just want to correct myself. Jabari Smith was drafted by the Hawks, now playing for the Houston Rockets. Cheering on his cousin in this one as the Murray State Racers have an upset bid on their hands. Loose ball taken away. Here come the Racers. Kenny White out of control, got it to go somehow, some way.
Wow, Kenny White Jr., the transfer from Tennessee Tech. Known for his three-point shooting, but his biggest impact on the game has been right before the first half, knifing through the defense, getting all the way to the rim, and then that time takes the contact, flips it up, probably expecting just to go to the free throw line for 2. Instead, it's 3 the hard way.
And he completes the three-point play. Kenny White now in double digits with 10. So Steve Prohm telling us before this tournament started, he thinks there are 5 dudes on his roster who could be 10-plus point per game players this season. 3 are in double digits already.
Yeah, and they'll need it because really, you mentioned it, it's the depth of A&M against Murray State's 7. It's like, hey, we're going to play our 7 guys, and they might play 10, 11, 12, but our 7 are going to be good enough to win. And so far, getting contributions from everyone has the Racers in the lead.
Now Smith with three fouls will go to the bench. And Quincy Anderson takes his spot on the floor. Wade Taylor.
I just don't like it.
Yeah.
It's early in the shot clock. It's contested. It's deep. And he's good off the bounce. You know, it's not like he's just a three-point shooter.
Jump ball means it'll be Murray State basketball when we come back. And when we do come back, we'll tell you about the relationship between these 2 head coaches, Buzz Williams and Steve Prohm. They've only played against each other once before, but there's more to it. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Lowe's. It's the best place to get everything you need for the holidays. Both talked about it to us yesterday at practices. It was the 2012 NCAA tournament round of 32. Buzz was the head coach of Marquette. Steve Prohm was in his first year as head coach at Murray State. They were 31-1 coming in, and it was a barn burner that Marquette ended up taking the win and going on to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, as soon as you brought it up, Coach Prohm put his head down and said, oh, we had those guys. Well, might not be the same stakes, but a little bit of a rematch opportunity here for the head coaches as Kenny White Jr. once again gets himself open at the rim.
Largest lead of the game for Murray State, and Steve brought up a great story where they didn't really meet or interact, but they had another connection earlier on due to Hurricane Katrina.
Yeah, when Coach Prohm was at Tulane and Buzz Williams was on Billy Gillespie's staff at A&M with Steve Forbes and others, as they had to evacuate to Tulane, and they were in the state of Texas, of course, he said, all my packages, all my stuff was shipped to Buzz's house, and so we communicated a lot through that. Well, right now, Murray State is just on fire. And Buzz Williams hollering for a timeout. His players don't hear him, so he gets the ref's attention. And again, A&M has to find some offense. Defensively, they got to close out on shooters. But Buzz Williams is going to have to do his best coaching job in this huddle. Time is running out with this big of a deficit.
opposite Myrtle Beach, Jacoby Wood, the transfer from Belmont, leading the way with 15 points, and the Aggies have not done themselves any favors offensively.
No, and a big reason with why Wood has those 15 points is you look at that bottom graphic, 12 assists on 18 made field goals, sharing the ball extremely well, finding the open man, the spacing. And yes, Wood, the young man from Belmont out of Cleveland, Tennessee, has been the star on the offensive end.
Radford got fouled as he went down hard. That's going to go on Kenny White. White's
just
first.
Radford's so good getting downhill. It's so physical and aggressive. It's just such a tough cover.
No easy buckets for these Aggies, and quite the opposite for Murray State. They have started off this second half on fire. 6 for 8 from the field, 3 for 4 from three-point range, and they're in the midst of an 8-1 run.
Well, the part I would criticize the Aggies on in the second half as opposed to the first half. In the first half, they didn't allow their offensive frustration to dictate their defensive intensity. Like there was never any overlap or hangover. They still hung in there. Whereas right now, I think their frustrations on offense are making them, become less disciplined on the defensive end, which is not what kept them in the game in the first half.
Anderson. Offensive foul. We're going the other way.
I mean, the defender's right there. He's set outside the lane. You see it. That's just, you got to be disciplined. Get in there, jump stop, find the other man. There's some that are bang-bang plays. That one was waiting on it.
Texas A&M staff hard at work on the sidelines, making sure there are no slips and falls in that three-point corner. And Buzz's team is going to need a couple of triples to get back in this game. Down 13 to the Murray State Racers, the number 24 ranked Texas A&M Aggies, ranked for the first time in 5 years. And if Murray State can complete this upset, it'll be their first win against an AP top 25 ranked team in a decade.
So a developing story, would you say, Mr. Hollenberg?
I would say so, Mr. Bradshaw. And this is nothing new for college basketball.
I know it's just year one for Steve Prohm here at Murray State, but he talked about it. He goes, now that we're in the MVC, we're an at-large capable team. Right. You get this win, all of a sudden your expectations shift a little bit for this season. Let's
face it, as good as they were in the OVC, as good as Belmont was, it was one or the other. It was never one and the other. Aggressive drive for Manny Obaseki, and he'll go to the line and shoot two.
It was. If you're Murray State, you just got to hang in there and defend without fouling, because A&M will take some tough contested shots. They will come down. There was not one pass on that possession. Just get it and take your man. And if you can force those contested shots without fouling and box out, you should be able to keep control of this game.
Obaseki ends up missing the first of the 2 free throws. He's one of 4 left-handed shooters on Buzz Williams' club. Buzz is known for a certain amount of idiosyncrasies. That's idiosyncratic of the roster itself. You don't see very many teams with 4 lefties on them. Obaseki goes 1 for 2.
A little bit different press, not the 1-2-2. This is more man up, press, see if they bring some traps.
Testing the first-year Division I player in Brian Moore, number 14 in blue. Handled it that time. White high off the window, no. And Garcia comes away with the rebound.
Much better job bringing the help early on White's drive.
Wide open. And he can't rattle home the 3 for Radford. Just 3 for 17 from distance for Buzz Williams' club.
And they had shot it, despite a small sample size, 43% their first 2 games.
Yeah, 18 for 42 coming in. Not so this afternoon. Here's Wood. That one's short. Radford. Breeding waves it off. and calls the foul on the floor. That's going to be foul number 2 on number 24 in blue, Jacoby Wood.
He does a good job sitting on the left end here. You want to take that away and force Radford to his right. But again, just it's a little too much contact there. And that's one way this A&M team can claw back into this game, is getting into the bonus early, extending the game, getting to the strike.
Dane, have you ever seen a head coach almost behind the baseline like Buzz Williams is? I know I should be watching the game, but I couldn't take my eyes off Buzz. Yep. That bucket's good by the freshman Washington. And now it's a 10-point lead for Murray State. And the Aggie faithful starting to get a little loud now. Pretty off the window from Brian Moore.
What a tough bucket by Moore. I mean, the ball pressure was all over him.
Washington, bang, bang, and another bang. A three-pointer and a chance at a 4-point play, but they're going to wave that off.
No, I think they got the foul on Washington for sticking his leg out. I think the 3 points, will they count the 3? But it looks like it could be an offensive foul.
And Steve Prohm saying that's a technical foul.
Technically, that's what? Ooh, that's a flop. That's a 1 point. Or excuse me, a free throw, Class B for Murray State, the way I understand it. See if we can get an explanation, but I believe the 3-point shot's going to be good. Now, whether they call it a flop or just an offensive foul, but to me, from what we've seen earlier in the games, I mean, that's a flop.
James Breeding coming over to explain. Dane, explain.
Basket's good. It was not a flop because it was an actual foul. He tripped the defender. So great explanation there. Coach Prohm is thinking, oh, he didn't really foul us. I'd rather call the flop and get the free throw out of it.
Smith back in the game and back to work. Jamari Smith's got a dozen.
He's been really tough. Just a smart, physical player. Been able to get to the rim better than any player.
Obaseki, nice spin move. Under 12 minutes to go. UMass with an upset at Colorado in game 1. Could Murray State pull off the even bigger upset in game 2? Tough shot from the baseline. And a foul is going to be called on Texas A&M. Well, if you've watched Murray State basketball over the last decade or more, you know that there's no shortage of talent in the Racers program. We'll visit that when we come back. That they turn out, especially at the guard position. Isaiah Cannon, the young man they called Sip, coming out of the state of Mississippi, was dynamite for him 10 years ago or so. Then Cam Payne came along, played 1 year at Murray State, then went on, currently playing for the Phoenix Suns, and of course, Memphis' own Ja Morant, lighting it up. Of course, a South Carolina native, since we're here in Myrtle Beach, and you know all about Memphis basketball.
Yeah, I do. And speaking of Memphis, that's where Cam Payne is originally from, went to Lausanne High School. And anybody in Memphis will tell you they never saw this coming, which is what Murray State has done. They recruit diamonds in the rough that other people like, you know, they're usually maybe the second or third best player on their AAU team. Ja Morant, second, third best player. He was AAU teammates with Zion and Devontae Shuler, who was at Ole Miss, and he was kind of an afterthought. And so it's really some sensational breakout stories that are born at Murray State. And credit to those guys that they stick with it. Ja Morant could have transferred anywhere in the country, but he's a Racer for life.
And they're going to count the bucket.
That is such a nice backdoor play. And how about Wood? Just a left-hand dime. I mean, off the bounce, left hand. Good backdoor cut.
Obaseki, good patience around the rim from Manny Obaseki. He's starting to put his fingerprints on this
they can't
contest.
keep him out of the lane. They got to get their best defender on Obaseki right now and stay in front of him or bring some help.
That one a clean block by Washington. See if that defense could spur on a little offensive success for Buzz Williams' club. Obaseki tried to leave it for the freshman Washington out of bounds. And it's going to be Murray State basketball.
But much better job. Jabari Smith came over and helped that time and discouraged the shot from Obaseki, forcing that difficult passing lane.
Just to go back to put a bow on that Murray State program, after 74 years in the OVC,
Wow.
28 regular season titles, 18 tournament titles, and now they're in the Missouri Valley Conference, which is, I guess you would say, it's a better conference. So how do you think they're going to fare in this?
Well, it's a multi-bid league. I think it allows them to go to tournaments like these. You know, you improve your resume, and if you lose a game in your conference tournament, doesn't mean your season's done. So I'm excited for their move.
DJ Burns showing the touch. Murray preseason picked number 8 out of the 12-team Missouri Valley League. Drake picked number 1. Belmont, who's also moved over there, preseason number 6.
Really nice, strong cut by Hefner. Good find by Dexter Dennis.
This game far from over. 9:43 to go and just a 9-point lead for Murray State, and that's going to be the second foul on Washington.
Take a look where Hefner comes from. That opposite corner, and known as a three-point shooter, acts like he's coming off the screen, then whoop, goes back door. Nice read as Wood was cheating up, expecting him to come off the screen like the scouting report says, but good adjustment and counter by Hefner.
And now Buzz Williams going big. Julius Marble checking in, as is Henry Coleman III. A definite size advantage for the Aggies right now.
It is, and if there's one area that they've really been able to beat Murray State up on, it's the second chance points, 14-4, and that's where that size advantage does come in. So Murray State must put a body on them on the other end.
Anderson trying to use that speed against Hayden Hefner. 10 on the shot clock. Nice wraparound feed. And the foul as Jabari Smith will go to the line.
And this is what you call ball watching, which is unexpected from Dennis, who's such a great defender. But watch Zero and White. He is going to start staring at the ball, doesn't know where his man is. He has to come over to help. And then Smith relocates extremely well. And it puts Dennis in a tough spot where you got to stop the drive, but you don't know where your man is. He's got to have somebody help the helper.
So Jabari Smith at the line. And he makes the first, giving him 13. This Sunday, men's basketball game of the day, undoubtedly, number 4 Kentucky and number 2 Gonzaga. Last season's National Player of the Year, Oscar Tshiebwe, leads the Wildcats against Drew Timme and the Bulldogs in Spokane. Coverage begins at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on ESPN and the app. Smith goes 1 for 2. 10-point Murray State lead. They have never trailed in this contest. Boots Radford rolls off, and we've got a foul.
So far, Rich, Murray State has been able to hold the Aggies off from getting any sort of momentum or just even a 6-0 run, and you feel like that's got to be coming soon for the Aggies. That time Radford, nice job avoiding the charge, getting himself to the free throw line.
And now Steve Prohm's going to have to go to his bench. DJ Burns set to check in for Jabari Smith, who is now saddled with 4 fouls.
That's a big call against the Racers. Burns has been really good, but Smith, one of their best options offensively.
Radford 2 for 2 from the stripe. Beats Radford, leading the A&M Aggies, 15 points so far today. And a turnover. This is how A&M's going to get back in it. Let's see if they can convert offense from defense.
We mentioned they hadn't had that mini run yet. See if they can't capitalize here, get that momentum.
Here's Taylor, haven't heard his name, and now we have a big three by Wade Taylor, his first triple of the afternoon. The lead has been sliced to 5. Anderson. And he turns it over. Here's Radford in the open court. Obaseki, back-to-back threes. Timeout, Murray State.
We knew a run was coming for the Aggies. It wasn't a matter of if, it was a matter of when. And the three-point line opens up. Wade Taylor, who's been ice cold, says, I got a short memory, coach. Give me the rock. This one's good. The next one's going in. Obaseki says, I want in on the mix too. And just like that, we got a 2.
Experience. Number 4, Kentucky. Number 2, Gonzaga. Sunday at 7:30 on ESPN.
That game's going to round out the weekend in fine fashion, but we've got wall-to-wall basketball here in South Carolina. UMass upset Colorado in the first quarterfinal here at the Myrtle Beach Invitational. So the Minutemen await the winner of this game, Murray State. They have their lead whittled to just 2 by 24th ranked Texas A&M, who has never led in this ballgame. Alongside Dane Bradshaw, Rich Hollenberg on hand, the HTC Center. We're glad you're joining us here on ESPN2. It's been a good one. Moore blocked by Radford, but the foul's going to be called.
And this is what you want if you're Murray State, to be able to calm things down, handle the pressure out of the timeout, get yourself to the free throw line. A&M brings such terrific help defense. But so far in this game, Murray State has just kept them at bay. See if they can handle the adversity that the Aggies have put on them, because as the Aggies trail, they certainly have all the momentum on their side.
Brian Moore misses the first. Murray 8 for 13 from the stripe today as a team. For 2 for Moore. He has 5, and the lead is back to 3. Still a 1-possession ball game for the Aggies. Under 8 to go now. Here's Taylor trying to find the hot hand, and ripped away by Kenny White, and a foul's called on the Aggies.
Well, I thought Wade Taylor had another one going down. It looked really good. Obaseki, good job keeping it alive, but team rebounding. They've done a better job recently keeping the Aggies at one and done. Those second chance points have really hurt Murray State earlier in this game,
yeah, Dane,
not so much recently.
To your point earlier, A&M's leading the rebounding war 32-29, but that's not a big enough lead that you would think they would have had.
Right.
First one drops.
To me, if I'm Coach Prohm right now, any lead we can build or extend just helps you buy more time with Jamari Smith on the bench with those 4 fouls. He's one of your key players that you want to get back in the game as soon as possible. You're keeping an eye on time and score while looking at 52, saying, hold on, we're going to buy as much time as we can, buddy.
And another whistle away from the ball this time. And that's going to be number 3 on DJ Burns. So Burns with 3, Smith with 4. Brian Moore and Quincy Anderson both have 3 fouls apiece as well for Steve Prohm. Julius Marble at the line. can't convert on the front end of the 1-1, but the tap back gives a fresh 20 seconds to the Aggies. Three-pointer, too strong. Another offensive rebound by Texas A&M. Loose ball, and it's recovered by Radford. Nice look, Coleman with the flush.
Just keeping it alive. Radford penetrates the no-look pass. Coleman relocates, and the rest is history with the slam.
First two of the game for Henry Coleman, who's coming off a double-double against Abilene Christian, 13 points, 11 boards. Back to a 2-point game. White, corner, got it!
And that's the shot they can get. When they get the ball in the high post to Burns, he kicks it out, and then they have an advantage with shooters.
Blocked! And Murray State's got it. And a collision at the free throw line, and they're going to get the foul on Texas A&M. That's going to be on Tyrese Radford, his first.
We got bodies flying everywhere, and some terrific defensive plays. This time, White is going to go up and say, give me that. Say, I'm not just a three-point shooter, I'm a rim protector. And then on the other end, as you mentioned, a collision. I thought Boots Radford got there in time and took that in the chest. Refs didn't see it that way, and the Racers at the strike.
First one's good. Now Kenny White has 18. So the two OVC transfers, Kenny White transferring from Tennessee Tech, and Jacoby Wood transferring from Belmont, are leading the Racers in scoring in their upset bid against Texas A&M.
How about the response since the timeout as the Aggies went on a run to cut it 60-58, and then they go on a 7-2 run of their own.
Coleman lost the handle. Here come the Racers. In transition, Perry, got it!
Just like that. Double-digit lead for the Racers.
What was a 2-point lead has ballooned back to a 10-point advantage. As the Racers faithful are at full throat inside the HTC Center. Run, there's a punch, there's a counter punch. What an answer by the Murray State Racers.
And a great job of Coach Prohm settling his new team down. I mean, this is the first year for all of them together to call that timeout, settle everybody down, get the looks that they want. I'm just so impressed at the execution of this Murray State offense. Really, they've got bigs. But let's not kid ourselves. This is small ball for the Racers. It's their small five against the Aggies' size and athleticism. So far, advantage Racers.
Wade Taylor. It's been a frustrating game for the leading scorer from the Aggies. He gets fouled on his way to the hole.
This is such a defensive challenge for your one-on-one matchups. You better be able to move your feet, chop them, slide, because there are some elite penetrators on the court and aggressive offensive players.
Taylor hits the front end of the 1-and-1. He's 13 for 14 from the free throw line this season.
And Rich, if I'm Buzz Williams, my message to my team is, hey guys, we got our offense going good enough now to win. It's on the defensive side. No team should shoot over 50% on us. Certainly not 10 for 21 from three. If they can lock down, get consecutive stops, they'll be right where they were before that last timeout.
That's where Buzz Williams always hangs his hat. Last year, the Aggies were third in the SEC in scoring defense. But tonight, they've already given up 70 to the upstart Murray State Racers. And there's still under 6 minutes to go, 5:45 to be exact. Here's Moore. Trying to do it himself, and he can't. Dennis, the rebound. Taylor, spin move, got it!
I love it. No settling from three. Put your head down, go downhill. That's where Foreign White is at his best.
Only 2 points for Wade Taylor, the fourth in the first half, but he's got 7 now in the second.
Ooh, got him.
And he picked the pocket of Brian Moore, who commits the foul.
There's those cookies right there. Wade Taylor starting to click on both ends of the court. Look how aggressive he is on the offensive end. He weaves and spins through traffic, keeps control of the ball in his body, and a beautiful floater, and then says, let's lock up, boys. Let's get this stopped. Whoop. Cookies, little guy. I got this. Now to the free throw line.
A game of momentum, and Texas A&M is trying to wrestle it away from the Racers. A rare miss from Taylor from the charity stripe.
I love this kid's confidence and swagger. I think early in the first half, it got the best of him where he was just shooting everything. But that's also what you love about him, and you got to rein that in some if you're Coach Williams. But I think he's the heartbeat of this team.
And missed them both. Coming up on 5 minutes to go. Toby Wood, 24 in blue with the ball. He's got 15 today. And he gets met in the paint by Dexter Dennis, but they're going to whistle Dennis for the foul.
I can see why Dennis is frustrated there. You play him straight up, allow a little bit of penetration, but really keep your man in front of you. Looked like a good contest from here.
Toby Wood knocks down the free throw. $16 for Wood, 18 for Kenny White, 13 for Jamari Smith. They have led the way for the Murray State Racers, who have never trailed in this contest. The lead back to 8, under 5 minutes to go. Do the Aggies have an answer? Dennis, too strong on the three. Another rebound for Kenny White. It's rebound number 5 for him. All alone. And Jamari Smith passed up the three. Wood won't. Ooh, and Rob Perry went down hard.
That's a foul.
Here's Smith.
Oh, there's a lot of contacts. Taylor going to the basket, and then Perry getting knocked over. Eventually, there is a whistle blown. Smith did a really nice job. Remember, he's got 4 fouls, so he has to be very careful if he's going to go into the lane. Good job avoiding the charge.
So Jamari Smith steps to the free throw line. 13 points on the afternoon, only 2 for 5 from the free throw line. But he knocks down the first. A reminder that Sunday we have the women's college basketball game of the day, as well as the men's. Aaliyah Boston and number 1 South Carolina taking on Haley Jones and number 2 Stanford in Maples Pavilion. Coverage begins at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on ABC and the ESPN app.
You just can't let him have a straight line drive to his left hand. Murray State has been really good defensively, not that possession though.
Radford to lead all Aggie scorers with 17. Smith showed 3, working on Marble. 5 on the shot clock. DJ Burns. And he got fouled and will go to the line. We have our final media timeout of this contest. Murray State 73, A&M ranked 24th on the ropes with just 66, down 7. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by VisitMyrtleBeach.com. Find where you belong at the beach. And by Dollar General. Save time, save money every day.
Not out. They put together a great run of their own with a couple three balls, getting some defensive stops. But then after the Racers called a timeout and handling adversity for the first time this season against a ranked team, they respond with three balls of their own. And this is a new team that has never played together until this season, with a first-year head coach back at Murray State and Steve Prohm. And here they are with an opportunity to take down a nationally ranked team for the first time in a decade.
And look at the shooting for Murray State in the second half. First half wasn't terrible, but second half it's been electric.
Yeah, and that to me is a huge compliment to Murray State, them finding shooters, but also a huge upset. When you think about a Texas A&M team, that the first thing I think of when I think of this year's Buzz Williams team is defense. And I don't see maybe anybody the rest of this season going 60% and a half against this Aggie team. But credit Murray State spreading out with shooters, ball handlers, and it's really been their 7 guys, because they don't have the depth of A&M. It's been their 7 against A&M's 10.
Big number that jumps out. You touched on this earlier, Dan. Fast break points.
Yep.
You're not expecting a Buzz Williams club to have a lot of them themselves, but they've given up 22 fast break points compared to only 8 for the Aggies in this game.
And when you're going up against a bigger team, how do you take advantage of that? You make those big guys run up and down the court. Try to beat them up the court on the offensive end. Make them close out on shooters. And they've shared the ball extremely well. 15 assists on 24 made baskets, whereas A&M's been a little bit different. They've been more put the head down, go one-on-one, try to get to the basket, which has been more effective in the second half. But for the total game, advantage Racers.
Well, Steve Prohm, no stranger to success in this gym. As a matter of fact, you go all the way back to 2017 when it was the Puerto Rico tip-off that got moved to Myrtle Beach, and they played this tournament here for the very first time. Steve Prohm's Iowa State Cyclones won that tournament back in 2017. This time he'd be doing it as an underdog. DJ Burns showing that good stroke from the stripe.
He's been terrific. When you think about guys being stars in their roles, DJ Burns is one of those guys for Murray State, an unsung hero.
Radford spins a little out of control and got the foul.
Again, he just loves getting back to that left hand. And as hard as it is, you have to defend him without fouling. A&M will force tough twos. They will take tough contested shots. Do not bail them out with a foul. Stay straight up. Do not bring that hand down.
Radford has 18 now. He's been perfect from the charity stripe. 9 for 9 from the free throw line today from Boots Radford. Make it 10 for 10. And the lead is 7 with 3:25 to go. The 24th ranked Aggies have not led in this contest. Andre Gordon now checking in for Wade Taylor.
That 1-2-2 press again. They're going to have to handle the pressure better than they did last time they showed this.
And they get it across half court, no problem. And now they'll look to run some clock.
Much better job.
Coming up on 3 minutes to go. Five on the shot clock. Kenny White trying to do it himself. Throws it up, comes up empty. Dennis, tough drive, and 2 for Dexter Dennis. That sets up the full court press again, which is handled adroitly by the Racers. Just a 2-possession game coming up on 2 minutes to go. Jamari Smith, 2 feet in the paint. Tough 2 by Jamari Smith.
What a patient move by Smith. He has been able to create his own all afternoon. No bigger shot than that.
16 for number 52 in blue, Jamari Smith.
And that's the help you have to bring. A&M has a lot of guys standing around watching their teammate go one-on-one. So Murray State can afford to come over and help a little bit earlier and often, especially with the Aggies' struggles from three.
Perry gives it up. Burns can't get the bunny to go. 90 seconds left. Dennis early in the shot clock, and maybe not the one you want taking that three.
Transition three there. He felt like he had an open look. Let's look at Jamari Smith here. Gets himself into the lane, and good defense, better offense. 52 says, this is my show.
Jacoby Wood tried to squeeze off that jumper to go to the free throw line and shoot three. Instead, he'll go to the line for 2 free throws. He's been a real steadying force for this Racers offense this afternoon.
And how huge was he in that first half? And we talked about the importance of the transition offense. Him sprinting ahead, getting some of those open looks from three and knocking them down. It was a double-digit score early in the game when Murray State really needed some extra firepower.
A perfect 4 for 4 from the free throw line today. And calmly knocks down another one. 5 for 5 from the stripe for Jacoby Wood. He has 19.
This is an Aggie team 6 of 24 from three so far in this game. So
Wade Taylor gets it to go in a rush. And a timeout called. Buzz Williams has 1 timeout remaining. Steve Prohm has 2. Both teams in the double bonus and possession arrow in favor of the Aggies, but they find themselves down 7 with only 1 minute and 8 seconds to go. So what do you do if you're Buzz Williams? Obviously, you're looking for a turnover first and foremost.
you are, and I like, of course, the press. And if you look at the man-to-man press versus the 1-2-2, I think the 1-2-2 has been a little bit more effective. Here's the challenge, though. When you play up against a mid-major type team like a Murray State, all 5 guys are ball handlers. Yeah, on paper, you've got a center over there. But they're good high IQ guys. So it's not as if, hey, if we can get it into the center's hands, it's an automatic turnover or foul that guy. They've got really good high IQ players at all 5 positions. And if you're Murray State, it's get it across half court, space it out, and then make it a free throw shooting contest from here.
A reminder, this is the second game of the quarterfinal round here at the Myrtle Beach Invitational. UMass has already punched their ticket to the second round and the semifinals. They await the winner of this game, but in the evening session, the Boise State Broncos taking on Charlotte at 7 o'clock. You can watch that on ESPN News. And then the nightcap at 9:30 Eastern on ESPNU, Loyola Chicago and the Tulsa Golden Hurricane of Conference USA will be tipping off. That's at 9:30 Eastern on ESPNU. Chuck Kemp and King McClure will take you through those 2 games.
This is a really athletic lineup out here for Texas A&M. 4 guards, Solomon Washington, who's a very versatile big man.
Full court pressure as you'd expect from Texas A&M. And it's picked off by Radford. A quick 3 off the mark, and Perry grabs the rebound and gets fouled. Again, is that too soon?
Yeah. On one hand, Radford's been so good at going to the rack. He hadn't missed a free throw, so he'd like him to go in and just convert the quick, easy 2. But can you knock him? You got a wide open 3 right there. Down 7. I can't fault the shot. Just didn't go in.
That'll send Rob Perry to the line, the Stetson transfer, preseason third team All-Missouri Valley Conference. The most proven scorer of this group of new faces for Murray State. And he only has 9 points this afternoon. They have not had to rely on Rob Perry's offense to do what they've done so far against Buzz Williams and the Texas A&M Aggies.
Yeah, outstanding balance by Murray State on the offensive end, and they got away with one there. I mean, A&M got the turnover, had a chance to cut it.
4 in double figures for Steve Prohm's Murray State Racers, and they are 59.9 seconds away from pulling off a major upset here in Myrtle Beach. Taylor for 3. Oh, and a foul is called a cardinal sin.
Yeah, you can't do it. Anderson's had a couple of those moments. He charged earlier in the game, and then this one, they're just, you got to make better decisions. Contest the 3 without running into them. Recognize time and score.
Taylor good on the first free throw. He's got 2 more coming. 53.9 to go. Buzz Williams out of timeouts. Obaseki out. KK Robinson in.
Tough spot for Robinson to come in. He's been ice cold over there on the bench. He better be warmed up and ready. Try to create a steal.
3 for 3 from the free throw line for Wade Taylor, the 4th. Still a 2-possession ball game. Texas A&M needs a turnover, and Murray State calls the timeout.
Robinson right on cue. Again, he'd been sitting on the bench the whole half. Comes in and denies the guard the ball. Does his job. It's a little bit more difficult now for Murray State. I do think against these pressure sets, if you can have a guard that can get open on his own, obviously that's the preference, because the more people you bring up, the more crowded it gets and the more deflections and trap opportunities. So ideally, you love to get your fastest guard up there to beat, get to the open spot, get fouled.
Steve Prohm told us he spent so much time schooling these young men on the history and the tradition of the program they're now a part of. They're 53.9 seconds away from adding another chapter to that history and tradition. Trying to beat a top 25 AP ranked team for the first time in a decade. They get it into Perry. He's content to hold on to it, and a foul is called.
I saw a lot of ball, Rich.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
And it was a little bit of a late whistle as well.
That was a good job by A&M not fouling right away, seeing if you can get that steal without immediately hacking. And right there, ooh, I see you, Wade Taylor. I understand your argument. That's a lot of ball.
So now even more pressure on A&M. A 3-possession ball game, 82-75 with 50 seconds to go.
Offensively, the good news is they have a lot of guys that can get their own. You know, the bad news is I think they all stand around and kind of take turns and watch the other guy get it. But right now they need quick offense, so it should benefit them.
12 for Perry. The lead is 8 for the Racers. Now the 2 words you should be hearing from the Murray State sideline: don't foul. Taylor, quick 3, misses it. He's got it again. And goes to the hole unmolested. State gets it over the half-court line and gets fouled. Jacoby Wood will go to the line. Jacoby Wood already with 19 points and a perfect 5 for 5 from the free throw line. And now he's got 20, one off his career high.
The free throws are never the story of the game unless you miss them, or excuse me, unless you make them. But they've been converting them at a high clip, 24 of 31 in the clutchest of moments. Again, just so impressed. This Murray State team had a run put on them that made it feel like A&M had all the momentum. It was 60-58. Steve Prohm takes a timeout, and then the Racers respond with an 8-0 run of their own and seize control of this game and never look back.
A career high 21 for Jacoby Wood. And now there's 30 seconds that stand between Murray State and their first win against an AP Top 25 team in 10 years.
Well, you want to defend the three, and you don't want to foul, but at the same time, you can't just keep giving up layups either. You got to show a little more resistance if you're Murray State if you want to put this game away sooner than later.
Well, Steve Prohm stepped away from college basketball coaching for a year after being dismissed from Iowa State after 6 years, but he is no stranger to big-time wins. Won 2 Big 12 tournament championships as the head coach with the Cyclones. Obviously took Murray State to new heights when he was their coach the first time around. And now on the verge of a signature win, even though we're in the middle of November. Another miss from A&M and another foul from A&M. And now the Racers can start celebrating. This is a program that is very prideful. Their fan base is extensive, even though Murray, Kentucky is such a small place, about an hour and a half, 2 hours outside of Nashville, Tennessee. But they travel well for tournaments like this, and they've come down to Conway, South Carolina to represent.
The tradition, the pride, the fraternity of the former players.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned that yet. He's got a couple of those on his staff. Dante Poole is a grad assistant. He was the OVC tournament MVP a year ago. And then Marcus Brown, who's in the Hall of Fame for the Murray State Racers, also on the bench for Steve Prohm.
They can hang on for another 20 seconds. I think John Moran will be tweeting, "Go Racers."
That's one thing that Coach Prohm was telling us. It means something to these young fellas when campaign zooms with the team a week or so ago. When after a win against Lindsey Wilson, an NAIA team, John Moran puts the racehorse emoji on his Twitter account. I wonder what John Cam will say about this one. The first AP Top 25 win for Murray State in a decade. And in a season that's already been full of upsets, you can add another one to the list. One of the biggest ones this season as Murray State pulls off the 88-79 upset over the 24th ranked Texas A&M Aggies. Murray State will advance to the semifinals tomorrow. They will take on Frank Martin and the UMass Minutemen. Texas A&M will face the Colorado Buffaloes tomorrow in the consolation.